Chicken here, bringing you another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, we're going to be discussing a very hotly debated topic, and that is what is the best hero to use with the Rainmakers. And the Rainmakers are the new mortar tanks, the prototype that was delivered by the trader a couple days ago now. So we have them for a limited time, but let's go over the best hero to use with them. So I've been playing around with this quite a bit. Not activity log, want to go to my attacks. And yeah, so at first I really thought Brick was going to be the best hero to use with them overall. But just the way that she moves, I find that she does sometimes, she'll stand out way too far in front of the mortar tanks, and then she'll sometimes just die. So she works great kind of in theory, but actually using her is kind of another story. So you'll see right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about, where I don't need her battle orders just yet, but the fact that she just runs out in front of everyone and, like, it's going to cost a bit more GB to kind of keep her in place. She doesn't stay centered around the mortar tank. She doesn't really stay that far back from defenses. So, yes, her battle orders does provide a ton of value to the mortar tanks because they have that slow rate of fire of 12 seconds between each lob of 4 mortar shells, which can be difficult to just take down bases just waiting on that time alone. So the battle order speeding that up, giving them that little extra damage boost if you're not boosting your statues, really does help. But the tricky part is keeping her in line. Now, you can do this. It's not impossible, but you have to use critters, you have to use shocks, you have to use smokes and flares, and it's just really expensive. And with 120 GBE cost to throw out 8 full boats of the mortar tanks, it's like you don't really have much GBE left to play around with. So for that reason, I would rate Brick as number 3 on the actually, yeah, we'd rate Brick as number 3 as the third best hero to use on the list of the best heroes to use with the Rainmakers, because now I place her at number 3 just simply because her battle orders is that good. We'll get into Everspark next, but let's just show you guys how we were able to finish out this base here. We'll throw it into 4 speed really nice and quickly here. So let's dive into, and boom. Alright, so finally the base goes down. So let's dive into using the Rainmakers with Everspark. So this is something that I like the universal remote for this best, because it's going to it's gonna, like, you still get her passive critters, which is important. That's the main reason that we're using Everspark, is for the free critters. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off this attack, and we'll throw a barrage out here. Let's get our mortar tanks out in front, and then let's get Everspark in behind. Hopefully we can. Okay, so we'll try that again, chicken, because Everspark just got targeted right off the bat, which is what we're trying not to do. This is why I had replays lined up for everyone else. It was a little bit easier to show you. So we'll try that again. Hopefully Everspark does not get targeted right off the bat this time. We can throw a smoke down for her if we need to, but yeah, we'll go like this, and we'll throw a smoke down right here, and then we can get a universal hack going up first, just so everything stays off the rest of our troops. Now, this is going to be important because, okay, so we'll go like this. We'll go ahead and shock right here. So again, it's hard to keep Everspark in the right area. Her critters do help a little bit with this, but I mean, her critters just kind of get destroyed by the mortar tanks in general. And look at how much GBE that we're having to waste here just trying to keep Everspark alive, when I need to be throwing my extra GBE on that shock blaster and that doom cannon way in the back. So Everspark is going to go down pretty quickly here. We'll see. We'll do our best to keep her going, but yeah, you see, I just wasted way too much GBE there trying to keep Everspark alive. If you can keep her alive and you can keep the critters coming, like say if he doesn't have any good. Say if he doesn't have like a really good layout and all of his defenses are just kind of like his long range defenses are kind of in the back, like the boom cannons and that kind of stuff, then sure, you can use Everspark and you'll get some value out of her, but it's just too hard to keep her in front. And for the little value that she provides, I actually rate her 4th, so I think she's the worst hero to use with the Rainmakers right now. Maybe you guys have had different experiences, so let me know that down below in the comments, but in my opinion, she's probably the hardest one to use. And provides the least amount of value. Maybe using the critter swarm would be a little bit better. I can't see the explosive charges being that good with the Rainmakers, but yeah, that's the chicken's thoughts on using Everspark with the Rainmakers. So let's go ahead and see if we can take down this base. And okay, so we are able to farm up enough GBE to take down this doom cannon. So now we basically have everything out of the way, guys. And this was no slouch base either. So he had 6 ice, and we were able to just kind of keep him at bay. So we'll go like this, and you can actually flare onto the HQ. And the Rainmakers have such incredible area of effect damage, such good splash damage that... Okay, I think we just threw the critters. Yeah, we just threw the critters directly into all those exploding mortars. But that's okay. So they have such massive splash damage with their mortar shells. Like, look at this. Well, actually, we should take out one of these boom cannons here. Yeah, I think we got that one in the back. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, you can just flare on the HQ and then just take out kind of everything around you. So let's dive into the next best hero to use. Now, it's kind of a toss-up between Bullet and Kavan, which one is best. They're both very, very good with the Rainmakers, guys. We'll use a Kavan here. And Kavan is fantastic because you don't have to worry about him moving. He's going to give you that little bit of extra healing. I'm not sure exactly which of his abilities would be best to use. I was using it with Crystal Critters. I found that to be okay. Just if you have a ton of GB already farmed up, it does provide you with a little bit of extra healing on top of Kavan's extra healing, which is kind of nice to have. Of course, Second Wind is what a lot of people are using. That's probably going to be best, but you also have to have it, you have to have it upgraded quite a bit to use. Right now, my housing space that it revives is only 10, and I need it at 14, so if you have it upgraded, then it would probably be very good. But the thing with using Rainmakers is you shouldn't really be losing them. And if you're losing them to a point where you have to have Second Wind to keep reviving them, it seems like a waste of GB, in my opinion. Of course, Second Wind you can also use to just spawn extra Riflemen, which is not bad, but they kind of, like, the way you use Rainmakers is kind of the same way you use Grenadiers, right? Where you're just clearing out sections and then getting to, like, these kind of free areas where you can just lob right over top of everything and shoot down at the defenses that you're worried about. So, but yeah, the biggest thing about Kavan is he stays in back with the proto troops. He doesn't run ahead. You don't have to spend extra GB to keep him in line. He does continually heal up all the proto tanks, which is really nice. You see that hot pot flares up right there and almost takes one of our tanks down. But yeah, I would lean more so towards Crystal Critters just for that little bit of extra healing. It really does help, especially when these tanks are so fragile. You don't really have much time to you don't have much time for them to be taking damage without anything healing them, so it is nice to have that extra healing of Kavan and of the Crystal Critters. So at this point in the raid, we're pretty well set, so we can go ahead and throw that into 4-speed. We're just making our way up and around, getting to a spot where we're only in range of that rock launcher that's shooting at us, and then once we take that down, we can just simply flare hunt the HQ and take out pretty well the entire base. With all those lob shots. So boom, that guy goes down, and yeah, so Kavan I would rank as number 2 of the best heroes with the Rainmaker. Now, in my opinion, just from what I've been playing around with, I feel like Bullet is really, really the best one to use. Now, I say this because the hardest thing about using the Rainmakers is typically the landing, and Bullet makes the landing so easy. For 3 GBE, he runs out in front, he distracts everything, and he lets us just take down stuff without, like, I didn't have to use a shock bomb there. I could have just let the shock launcher target Bullet. And then you see when we're using all the medics, they're going to heal up Bullet. We can keep using Taunt, and we basically just have free reign of just running through this guy's base and destroying everything while everything is shooting at Bullet. Now, you'll run into some problems with Grapplers. Grapplers really kind of destroy this strategy because they're just going to pull Bullet, especially if he is taunted. They're all going to aim on him. And he's going to go down fairly quickly if he does get sucked in towards, like, the middle of the base. So you have to be a little bit careful about that, but overall, he provides a ton of value, especially on those landings where you're going to spend most of your GB and you're going to have your least amount of your GB because you're throwing out all these super expensive proto tanks. So yeah, he makes the landings a lot easier. So for that, basically for that reason alone is why I would rank him so high. Great with Taunt. Shock Knuckles you could use, sure. I wouldn't see as much value with any of his other abilities. Energy Drink would be okay, but again, I still think Taunt is the better option. Just because he gets that the health regen, and Energy Drink he's going to go out way too far and not provide as much value. Taunt he's going to stay a little far, he's still going to run way out ahead, but you can keep spamming it for not much GBE and keep distracting most of all the defenses, which is really, really nice. So yeah, that's basically the chicken's ranking of the best hero to use with the Rainmakers, guys. So let me know what you think of that down below in the comments. Yeah, having a lot of fun with these proto troops. I think they're definitely the best ones that we've seen so far. And yeah, I wanted to give a big shout out to the YouTube channel sponsors down below, guys. If you want to sponsor the channel and be featured in the chicken banner and be the first to know about quizzes, giveaways, special videos, troop recommendations, all things like that, you can go ahead and sponsor the channel. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff with that. So I wanted to give a shout out to Cameron Moriarty and Dan Farfan, the first 2 channel sponsors. We got one more, then we can actually do like custom emotes and a lot more fun things. So yeah, that is going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. Make sure to let me know down below in the comments who you think the best hero is to use with the Rainmakers. And yeah, so that is going to wrap up the video today. Make sure to leave a like if you're interesting, entertaining, or informative, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Chicken out. Bye.